it's so crazy to think back. Like I was happy with 1,000 plays on SoundCloud in 24 hours, and it like blew me away.
Mhm.
And then slowly started progressing more and more and more, and just like conceptually thinking where I'm at now, like I have like unironically like 10 billion fucking streams, and it's insane, you know?
Hey, yo, welcome to the Rap Career Growth Podcast.
We're here to help rappers, artists, producers, their teams, the rap community at large, grow businesses around music.
Join us as we share insights, tips, and interviews with industry experts to help you succeed in the rap community.
I'm Kyle Kraft.
And I'm Imperative. Let's get started and make some moves together.
Welcome to the Rap Career Growth Podcast. Today we're going to be doing an interview with 6-time JUNO Award-nominated artist from Vancouver, BBNO Money, who has billions with a B of streams across 6 solo albums, a bunch more EPs and collaborative projects, who has released over 200 songs over the last decade. He's released a massive amount of promotional content, has headlined successful tours on 4 continents, playing over 1,000-person venues per night, all the way up to 10,000 person venues as a headliner in some markets. I've learned a ton personally about music marketing from working with Alex and his team, and I'm grateful to have him spend the time with us to participate in this podcast. And without further ado, let's get into it.
So yeah, I'm working on this project. I don't really know where I'm taking it, to be honest, but I think something that I've always been really good at is just like kind of being like a musical anomaly where like it doesn't really make sense, but it kind of does. And something I've definitely been honing in on is like doing more falsetto, like finding different voices that I can utilize, and like something that Tyler or all the biggest rappers in the world all have different vocal ranges. Like look at Drake, look at Yeet, look at Playboy Cardi, look at all these people. They all have highs, lows, mids, different tones, different this, and it's like very articulated. And that's something that I've never been able to really like hone in on, but I'm really finding my pocket and groove with being able to sing. I think I've been singing a ton more. Like I made a full-blown bossa nova song yesterday that's like all singing, like sounds like Leve. And it's like I shouldn't really be making that music, but who the fuck cares? And I think that's something that I've always been able to do is even in the session yesterday, the producer was like, dude, it's unbelievably amazing the ability that you have. You can just make any song you want and it's actually good. And it's like my fans won't really not look at it, or they'll listen to it and they'll be like, oh, that makes no sense. I feel like I've branded myself really, really well so that I can have as much fun as humanly possible all the time. And yeah, like a lot of my next album is like, it's less storytelling, but it's like more thought out beats. It's more like for the intro of my album, I have my tag that goes like, oh, baby, no money. But basically what we did is there was like a glitch on the computer, and it like ended up grabbing the spot in the very beginning of the oh, baby, no money tag. And it went, oh. And then what we did is we like duplicated it, and then we were like, oh, that sounds amazing. We should have that be the intro of the album. So it goes like for 30 seconds, it's literally like just that. And it's like, yeah, it's probably gonna reduce consumption, but like that experience of hearing that for the first time, I remember hearing it, I'd be like, this is way too cool. It's way too like, this is my album, like this is my song. And shit like that, like just adding something that doesn't make sense and shouldn't make sense makes it make sense, if that makes sense.
It makes me think of Jay-Z and Kanye's Watch the Throne, where Kanye threw in that little sound after, and Jay-Z hated it. And Kanye's like, no, we got to end like the song with this little sample of like this weird horn. So it's exactly that sort of mentality. It just throws the listener, right? Like they're not expecting it, and it catches the ear, and then it's an experience. It's a moment.
And that'll resonate for the hardcore fans. Like that may not, make it easier on streaming platforms, but
Mhm.
the people that are already on board will be like, yeah, I remember that tag from the first album.
Yeah.
You know, like, and like to hear it, you know, manipulated essentially and interpolated in a new way will have some resonance with them. And I mean, look, the beginning of La La La, it should not make sense for streaming, and yet,
Yeah.
you know, like
Well,
it's got a billion plays.
interestingly enough, that song when we put it out, we didn't want to keep it on it, the intro, because we were like, this is too like unorthodox. Like we should probably just not put it on because we're not gonna get playlisting. Song came out, we got zero fucking playlisting. Zero when it came out.
Yep.
I was like, all right, but whatever. I mean, it still did. All of my songs at that time were doing like 40K a day at max, like the day it came out.
Mhm.
And this shit did like 87. And I was like, oh, whoa. So it was really cool when that happened. I felt like I was like, okay, my marketing a song actually works. It makes a difference. Although this was like a time where I knew exactly how to market a song, and now it's like a little bit more out of my hands. Albeit like TikTok kind of just exploded that shit. Dude, it's been fucking 5 years. What the hell is going on? But I find it really interesting and basic, like honestly, like therapeutic that I have always been able to understand like understand marketing. And that's something that I think allows me to keep striving in like this new up like day and age of being an artist is like I can actually understand the internet, and that's because I grew up on it. And I feel like a lot of people just don't get it. They just don't get it. And I don't know why. Maybe it's just like a generational gap, maybe it's this, but like the younger generation probably gets it even better than I, because they're born and raised on TikTok. They're born and raised on social media. And like 5 years younger, these kids are literally on their phone like 20 hours of the day. So I don't know, man. It's just like I'm kind of just rambling here, but it is interesting that what being an artist in this day and age is, because it's more than just being an artist. You have to like actually be like a content creator. So
I
But
think
that itself is art. Like it shouldn't be looked at as like, oh, this is something I have to do, but rather like that can be an extension of creativity if you
mhm.
let it be. Like, I mean, you do some incredibly um artistic and just like, you know, boundary pushing stuff if you're in that mindset. And I think that, you know, the amount of videos that you've created in the last half a decade, especially, you know, basically coinciding with TikTok, basically, you know, speaks to that. And it shouldn't be a chore. It shouldn't be like I have to do this. And you know, what I hear young people. It's not just the older guard, the older generation saying like, "Oh, I have to do that." I hear you, even younger artists at times. Like some of them aren't as content savvy as they should be. And that's a shame. I wanted to ask you, obviously, you know, as I said prior to recording, I listened to some other interviews that you did to just round out the perspective beyond what I already know from working with you. You've mentioned, you know, your parents instilling work ethic in you that they derive from, you know, being hardworking immigrants. But I haven't really heard you address takeaways that you've had from training to be a competitive athlete and how that applies to your work ethic now. Because I think the work ethic piece is something that can't be understated. I mean, you've said publicly that you release about 1/10 of the songs you record, et cetera. So you've basically, with 200 songs released, I'm extrapolating that you've recorded almost 1,000.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the work ethic that you've gotten from the competitive athletics training as well? Because that's something that I think is worth highlighting and
You know,
emphasizing.
I never really think about this. So good question. I appreciate that. I think there's probably two sides to it. Being a competitive swimmer, you're head down in the water with your thoughts. And it's just you. Like it's always just you. And the only way you're going to get faster is if you push. And the only way you're going to get better is if you try. And that's something that swimming is you can't rely on anybody else. And if you want it, you have to get it. And team sports, you can slack on a team sport. You can. You can do whatever the fuck you want. And like you can get carried. Individual sports, you can't. You have to put the hours in and the work. And that's something that, especially in this business, a lot of people have always asked me, like, how'd you do this? Like, how? And I'm like, bro, I just didn't talk about doing it. I just fucking did it. And I think it's a very, very, very important skill of mine that it's like this morning, I was lying in bed. I was like, oh, I should probably go for a walk. I should do this. And then I was like, fuck it. Took a deep breath and just jumped out of the bed. And I was like, went for a walk. And I don't know where I got that work ethic or if it was from swimming or if it was from my parents originally. I think I think so I was homeschooled and I think my parents or my mom was like my primary like teacher and there was a lot of that my day was left up to me. So she would be like, "Hey, you have this homework from early on," and I would have to go do it. And it would be like I would have to find methods, or I would really have to entertain myself. Being the human experience from day one, when have your kid, all they want to do is like fiddle with this or fiddle with the phone, and they're constantly trying to entertain themselves. And I think I had to do that a little bit more because I was homeschooled, where there wasn't as much stimulation all the time. So I had to make the stimulation for myself. So I would have to constantly be finding and searching and finding to entertain myself, and let alone to work. I think my work ethic, like the basis of my work ethic, is because my mom and dad are just beasts. My dad used to work 72-hour weeks, like I'm fucking maniac. My mom, just Swiss, always on time. Uh, so I kind of grew up with that experience where it was like get it yourself and work really hard. Something that my dad came from Sudan, and his basic understanding of what money is and family is like you have family and you have money and you put a house over their head. That's it. That's the basis. You use money to live. The basis is survival. His upbringing was a little bit more difficult than mine, without question. So that was probably like heavily distilled in his, minutia of his membrane and his brain and his traumas and this, that, and this and that. So being an immigrant, coming to Canada that early, like it does something to you for sure. There's probably like papers and papers and papers about that. So I think all of those like little aspects and those pillars have really like defined who I am. Unfortunately, sometimes I feel like I work a little too hard and I don't really like
I'll second that.
I'm not yeah, I'm not really like happy sometimes. And I'm just like, God, I need to live my fucking life sometimes. And but I wouldn't be in the position I'm in without my parents' like traumas, basically. So it's really difficult to reconcile my feelings on it because I wouldn't be in the position I'm in without my parents' traumas. But at the same time, I also I don't know if I'd be happier without it. I don't know if I'd be happier without the position I'm in. I have no idea. I don't, the only experience I have is the experience that I have right now. Right. So I kind of went off on a tangent, but that's really like kind of how I navigate my thought process with regards to where I got my work ethic.
Fair.
Swimming is very individualistic, and I think it also makes me a little individualistic in even a relationship dynamic. And I think it's just like I will always do me at all given moments. And when people, because time and time again, I kind of prove myself right. And I think I get in my head a little bit about that. And it's like sometimes being a team player, I wish I came up on a team sport because it's just like sometimes it's grinding gears. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's basically all I can say. But
No, that's amazing, and shout out back to your parents again for that. And Vaughn for helping on the business oversight in the
Yeah,
early days.
totally.
Um, that that's cool, and that's cool that he's still involved, helping keep an eye on things,
Hmm.
and as your career is obviously blowing the fuck up. You mentioned in another interview, talked about getting in 10,000 hours of creating music before you were famous. How many songs was that before you started to have success that you were feeling, do you think, in your head? How many songs had you released? How many songs had you recorded?
Well, I mean, success is all relative, right? So, um,
Yeah, fair.
I would say, honestly, like right around now, it has been exactly 10 years since I made like my first song.
Mhm.
Um, and then since then, I have no idea. I've definitely made it at least like 1,500 hooks, and I've only put out like at least I've only put out like 100 that I'm proud of. And I would say every 200 songs I make a hit or like a song that's big
Mhm.
at least. Yeah, I would say about 1,500. 1,500 is a safe. That's a safe bet. There's definitely some that I've done and like I record and I just delete because it's just like I don't like it. You know, it's like I try and then I'm just like whatever. It's not good enough. There's no way. Um, but yeah, around there. So
Okay. You've talked about fairly compensating your collaborators in other interviews. It's a shame that I have to ask this, but why do you make it a point to be fair with your producers and so on when others aren't as much so? Like, where does that come
well,
from?
so with full transparency, I have become a little bit less fair because with the amount of fairity that I was giving, people were it's like you give someone a fair share, they just want more. And it was getting to a point where so basically like let's say on a song, I would split the song up 33, 33, 33. There's two vocalists and a
Mhm,
producer.
mhm,
Everyone gets that. Boom, happy. But the thing is when I would do this, I'd be like, I need people to back the expenses. If I'm spending a ton of money to make this song last longer, I need people to back the expenses.
mhm.
People would not want to do that. And it started pissing me off time and time again. Um, but like I would say like 95% of my catalog is basically like close enough to lead close enough like split down the middle kind of thing. Maybe like 90%. And then there's a bunch of songs that I literally got fucking owned. Like I own like 2% on them or I literally got 0%. And I was always under the impression I was just like I have been fucked over so many times. I don't want to fuck anyone over. I will always be fair. And that's just something that like I've always thought is like a moral code. So now what I've been doing is I've been more fair on the upfront advance on things because it's just like it gets too sticky and people get like frustrated and I'm like, dude, producer cuts usually it's like 2% sometimes. And I'm like, I've been out here giving like 50 and 30s on like double like cuts or the like two artists on the song. And I've always been willing. I've always been willing, but time and time again in the past like 2 years, it has been like troublesome. And I don't know why. I mean, it's just the unfortunate reality is when there's actual money, people get upset. And
When you say
yeah,
troublesome, do you mean
just
like with people having expectations, or in terms of like past precedents that you've set, or what do you mean by that?
a little bit of both. A little bit
Yeah.
of both. I mean, like the past precedents, yeah, that's just like how I set my business up, and it's fine. And I'm really happy that I've been able to. Frankly, dude, I have made four producers rich as fuck. So,
Mhm.
but they've also helped me garner money.
Yeah.
So I've always just been like, dude, like it's a collaborative experience. So
Mhm.
that was my original like that was like where my mind was. But
Mhm.
I just found it interesting time and time again. Like after I was providing, like, and I was like, hey, like I just need you guys to back the expenses, and they would just not,
Yeah.
and it just wouldn't make sense if I was putting the song out and putting all the effort in to
And the
market the
money.
song
And the
and the
money.
money and the money.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't make sense if I'm giving that much of a percentage.
Mhm.
So I've been like I kind of reeled it back a little bit just so I feel a little bit more comfortable investing without having them to back any expenses,
Fair.
which is more fair in
That's
my
totally
opinion.
reasonable. I
But
mean,
but I totally think like the percentage that I'm giving still is like more than reasonable.
yeah, I mean, if you're self-releasing, you should basically have a record deal with yourself. You know, like
Yeah,
this
yeah,
portion is
yeah.
for the marketing, and this portion is for, the creation, and to be giving like huge double-digit percentages just for the creation, and not accounting for the substantial sums of money that you spend sometimes on pushing songs
Yeah.
doesn't make sense either.
Yeah, I think
It kind of sometimes, bro.
you're hearing
Pardon
it. You're probably running into issues because there's the thing I noticed. There's more information out there than ever before, but it almost seems like there's less of an understanding of it, right? Like people get the confused of what percentage they're actually getting and what you're giving them, and what they're entitled to do. And I mean, I'm sure you know better than anyone. Contracts obviously come down to what it is, and from my, I want to make it clear because obviously this is rap career growth and podcast, and we're talking that. It sounds like what you're talking about is you're giving them on the master side those double digits, which yeah, that is for you taking care of the bulk of the marketing. That is very generous on your end. So I think that comes down to the misunderstanding that a lot of people have, because there is so much information out there, but I just don't think people are putting the pieces together. It's that whole like active listening, and it's like they're hearing it, but they're not actually taking it in and understanding. But double digits on a master side, when you're taking care of the majority, that's very generous.
Yeah, it makes sense when
Yeah,
there's not money being spent, but
yeah.
you know,
When there's it's interesting because it's like it's kind of like a double-edged sword because it's like at the end of the day, the song wouldn't be there and wouldn't be big without that producer being in that room that one day,
Mhm.
and I know that.
Mhm.
It's kind of like okay, it's kind of like I some like brand told me to make a song for them, and I was like cool, and I was like I don't really want to spend any time on it, but there was a kill fee, so basically if you do it, you get money regardless, like a small amount. So I was like, hey, let's do this. When a good friend of my producer guy, and I was like, let's do it really quick. Spend 20 minutes. We'll get the kill fee. Who fucking cares if we don't get it? We can go spend it on a good meal, just because fuck it. So we did the song, and then I got a call from my team, and they were like, hey, the company wants to take 40% off the top if it comes in, and then this other sync company wants to take 10%. So you're gonna be left with only 50% of the fee. And I'm like, sure. If it's 50% of the fee, it's still 50% of zero. Like, if I didn't do it, I wouldn't have any money.
yep,
So it's kind of like a weird understanding of like, if it, like, I understand fundamentally you lose 50% of $10, yeah, you're left with five. But if those $10 and those $5 weren't presented to you, you didn't have that money. So I think a lot of the time it's like cost, cost value analysis. Like, I used to tour, I fucking still tour and I lose money. It's like the value of touring is to prove to your fans that you are an artist and you can actually you're dope. Like that's basically the whole reason. My goal, my official goal as an artist now is to do 5,000 capacities all across the world. That's it. And after I do one of them big joints, big ass tour, cash in, I'm gonna take a long fucking break. And ideally I can get there in 2 years. But yeah, it's interesting. Like I literally have been touring for free, volunteering until this year, basically. So it's just the way it goes, man.
so what is making you make the investment in your live shows to the point that you are, bringing the production, the lighting, and so the VJ and so on, to take it to the point of break even, based on the budgeted income, the anticipated income? Like what's the thought process behind that?
I'm kind of like platformed to do whatever the fuck I want, so I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. You know what I mean? Uh, and it's like if people are coming to my show, they're spending 2, 3 hours, 4 hours, like going out of their way to come to my show. I'm gonna put a dope show on.
Mhm.
I want it to be fun. Like I'm there. The rap standard for shows is pretty dog shit.
Amen.
And nothing against rap music. Like I went to a boom bap show recently, and I was like, this is cool, but God, is this shit boring? And like I don't know. I come from my brain is fried. I come from like I want lights. I want stupid shit. I want like poop being thrown in the crowd. Who cares? It's like I want like a show. I went to one of my favorite bands ever. And I went out, I bought tickets, and I was like, I'm so excited. And they just stood there and played the music. And I was just like, dude, what is the point of this show? Like, yeah, going and hearing live music is cool, but like have a personality. And I think that's something that I've always wanted to do is one of my main goals is have like a full-blown musical with like an orchestra. That is something that I've always really had in the back of my head. It's obviously financially
Homie, even
impossible.
at even in 5K cap venues, you're not gonna be making money doing an orchestra.
But I think that'll be like an orchestral tour. Like after I do the 5K caps, like I can just like make $0 and just do it for the art of it. Um, yeah, that's something that I've always wanted to do.
Dope.
But
Super dope.
yeah, make it like a full blown musical and unique. And I don't know, man. Like I could make a bunch of money on these tours, but like, why would anyone come back if it's just boring? Like, yeah, I can play my music, but what's the point of that? Like, people can go listen to my music on Spotify,
Yeah.
and it'll sound better, frankly. So why not bring a bunch of lasers? Why not have a bunch of skits? Why not like think about how to make this show really dope with like unique lighting, moments, and this and that? And it's like that's what's fun for me is like visualizing how my music comes to life and trying to give back to the people that have platformed me.
Mhm.
That's all you can really do, right? So
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and I appreciate the long-term perspective that you have as opposed to just cashing in. I mean, headlining and selling out, 1,000 to 2,500 cap rooms right now, like that's money. Like that's a fair amount of gross revenue being generated, and to look at it like, okay, I'm not going to cash in on that. Kudos to you for the long-term thinking. And
yeah,
thus far, I remember you playing 300 cap rooms. So yeah, let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about your first Canadian tour as an example. I know obviously, and anybody who's listening to anything else will understand that you had some outside success in China before anywhere else, where you were playing much bigger rooms. But let's bring it back to the Western world, to North America. How did your first Canadian tour go in 2017? I think it was. Is that right? Maybe 2018.
it
Actually,
was early 2018. Yeah, early
yeah,
2018.
yeah.
Man, you know, I, I I don't really remember it being bad. I remember it actually being really fun
Okay.
and kind of an experience that I was like, it's interesting because the differentiation between like the amount of like popularity I had in China at that moment in North America, I was like, this makes zero fucking sense.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, it just doesn't make sense. So fundamentally, I was like, all right, if something's working in China, why don't I try it? I want to just keep going. Something's clearly working.
Mhm.
And I was doing like I think we did like 15 tickets in Edmonton. We did like 60 in Calgary. We did like 150 in Vancouver, which was pretty
But that's
dope.
their hometown. That's like literally the homies coming out.
Yeah, it was all the homies.
So that's not really
Um,
like talking about your hometown, but I'm saying like going
yeah,
on tour and like playing other markets, like those numbers are the definitive ones. While you're playing 1,000-person rooms in China,
yeah.
selling out 1,000-person rooms in China, due to the viral success you had there. For those who aren't familiar, and around the same time, Gravy started to have some success as well, and
Yeah.
took you on tour in the States. And
So
go ahead.
it was 2018, April 2018. I went on tour with him. We did like a 30 stop, and like yeah, I was literally in a deficit during that tour because he like we didn't he was like, I have no budget for you. If you want to do these shows, like just fly out and do it. I'm like, I bet. So, and then I had to get a fucking visa, and that cost like $4,000. I was like, ah.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's definitely been so much growth, and I don't know if there's like a normal trajectory, but everyone's like platform and artists like the expectation of what and how long it's going to take takes forever. I don't know. Like it's all different for everyone. For instance, like Toronto, we did the Drake Hotel, I think. We sold like 40 tickets. And we even put Gravy on that show. We sold like 40 tickets. And I sold out History in pre-sale. So
2,400
that,
capacity for those that don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
2,400 tickets. And that was
Yeah.
like,
Congratulations on that. As by the way, we haven't talked since then. That's
yeah,
super dope.
it was really, really dope. I was like, oh, okay, bet.
Yeah.
People are in Canada fucking with me now. Um,
It took a minute.
so, you know, my agent was like, "Oh, next time you blow that show up, you kill that show. Next time you're 100% doing 5,000 tickets in Toronto." And it's like that's cool. That it makes me feel really good because it's like, oh, like everything I have been doing is working. It's validating, and it's cool to see the growth, man. Like it honestly is. Like it's been a really long grind. And I was talking to my DJ Dan recently, and I was like, dude, thanks for being a part of like this whole experience, and thanks for being like by my side this whole time, because there's been so many ups and downs, and it's like such an emotional roller coaster for me. But like, I wouldn't have taken anything else. Like, this is my career and my life is it's the greatest thing I've ever experienced without question, and I'm so like eternally grateful. I just sometimes like I don't. It's hard to navigate my feelings about these things because no one really has these feelings about like where I'm supposed to be or where this or that or that. So I'm like super vocal and honest about it. And yeah, I don't know, but I am happy. Things are going great. My North American and European tour, they're selling like hotcakes, like incredibly well. So I don't really have any complaints. I just don't know how I should feel about all of this. Does that make sense?
I mean, I'm not in that position, but I hear you. And from the years we've known each other, I've definitely seen, you burning yourself out at times, and just like your work ethic has been a double-edged sword to the point that like I've suggested on numerous occasions, like go for a vacation, you know. Um,
Yeah, I know that feeling, right?
that's definitely that self-care is an important piece, that in spite of the ambition and work ethic, we need to prioritize.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I've been working on a little bit more this year. For the most part, I've been taking Sundays off
Oh.
and like just actually taking them off, like doing literally nothing. So that's been helping a little bit. I've been exercising a ton. Like I'm a really healthy individual, like physically and but mentally it's like, all these like weird stresses and like the constant nag to always be doing something for my career definitely kind of like tears me a little bit apart because it's hard to reconcile when to take a break. And it's interesting too because it's like nothing really happens if I don't put music out. Like actually, like
Mhm.
I'm a pretty reserved person. I'm not too public about like what things are going on in my life or like if I'm trying to like do a publicity stunt. I don't really do that shit that much. I post stupid stuff, and if I don't have a song coming out, there's no real like external reach of where my fan base could go. It's like that's like the ammunition. That's where it all starts.
Mhm.
So if I'm not putting music out, like nothing's really happening in my career. So I just need to like deeply understand that a little bit more in order to take more effective breaks and like healthier breaks and more time off. Because
Mhm.
sometimes I'm like, if I make a TikTok, I'm gonna keep my career going, but it actually makes no fucking difference because no one really cares about anything I have to say other than the music that I have.
Mhm.
So, and that I'm happy about. I am an artist first and foremost. Obviously, I have like a weird personality and people kind of gravitate towards it, but it's still like an artistic endeavor is why people tap in with me. if that makes sense. So
yeah. And what's the reasoning behind the, making 120 songs for an album and releasing 10 of them? Like what's the, yeah, what's the thought process?
I think deep down, like, I've had my hits, and it's like, but I haven't had a good project, you know? Like, I haven't had, like, one where someone listens through and they're like, he chose all the good ones he made. I don't have that. And I know I don't have that. I don't know if I'll ever have that, but I can at least personally believe that I can make that. And that's what I want to do. And, being more intentional with my music, I've only put out 3 songs this year, or like 4. And I feel like, they haven't done like incredible, like mind-blowingly crazy, but they've done better than usual. And that's because I was more intentional, marketed it a bunch, promoted it, really did my diligence on like doing the whole, taking the whole 9 yards on working on putting music out. So yeah, that's basically it. I just want to put out a project I'm really proud of. And I'm always proud of my projects, but like something I can look back on and be like, nah, like I really put my fucking blood in this shit. And it's interesting because like sometimes I can go in a room. Like yesterday, I made 2 songs that I probably want to put out. And like sometimes I go into a room and you can make like 2 great ideas, and they're like, okay, well, these just like absolutely annihilated the whole project. So it's like, what are we supposed to do? And it's like finding that middle ground of like just making the best shit that you possibly can. And I think once I make a project that is just objectively dope, people will be like, all right, this makes sense. Because I already have the hits and I already have like the eyes on me. And I think I honestly like I'm basically my goal is to tap into a little bit more of like a Mac Miller-esque. So it's like a little bit more sonic, and less like just like expected. And I think that's something that I can actually do because I'm very like deep down I'm a very creative person, especially when I'm like tapping into the fun. When I tap into the fun, people can really feel it. Where it's like, oh, like he was just having fun making this music, and I think that's the goal, man. I think it's just being able to platform the ability that I have to have fun and display it for people who also want to be inspired to just have fun with their life because that's the only thing we have to do.
Yeah.
You brought up the name Young Gravy came up earlier, and you've collabed with Gravy before, and then Y2K also, and Rich Brian. Can you talk about the power of collabs and how that's affected your career?
So Gravy and I like we I reached out to him super early on and we just became friends and he blew up before me in North America and he put me on. I honestly like he helped me out so much. I helped him out so much. I think when La 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 blew up, this other song we had with the Tesla got caught in the algorithm and there was a bunch of shit that really helped both of our careers that without us being a duo, like it wouldn't have been as successful. We sold out like a Baby Gravy tour. We were doing like 5K capacities across America, and it was a fucking crazy tour, like insane. We did like 7,000 tickets in Seattle. We did like 9,000 tickets in Minneapolis. Like just actually crazy. Like a moment in my life where I was like, whoa, this feels like the beginning of my career. It's interesting because I don't know where I would be without it. I don't know if my trajectory I would be bigger. Who knows? But it is what I have now. So I'm like eternally grateful for working with like Lentra, Y2K, Diamond Pistols, like all the producers. And yeah, I just find it interesting because it's like I have no idea what the power of a collab is. I think it like subconsciously, when you're working with someone that someone else knows, it subconsciously affects them being like, oh, like if you worked with this person that I fuck with, like I fuck with him now. And that's something that from the very, very, very beginning of my careers, I was always like willing to work with another producer in order to like garner their fan base on SoundCloud. Because producers on SoundCloud, they always had like more of a fan base than I did. So I would just like rap on their songs, rap on their beats, and put it out. and it would like maybe get reposted by them. So it was all like speculation of like how I could like like climb up the snakes and ladders of like, yo, now you have 2,000 followers on SoundCloud, people around 2,000 or 3,000 followers on SoundCloud who are like starting to gain some traction might send you beats. So it was a fun game, to be honest. And it's like all based off reposting and this and that. And I just think that like collaboration, like the term collaboration is so positive. I think when you're in a room, for instance, like Say La Vie with Young Gravy and Rich Brian, I was like, Christian, we just finished at a moment, and then Gravy pulls up, and I was like, Christian, Don Pistols. I was like, yo, just grab a fucking guitar and start shredding. He started shredding, and immediately I was like, na 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 na, C'est la vie. That's not the melody, but basically I wrote that hook in like milliseconds, and I was like, oh, this song's fire as fuck. Like this song is fire. Like I know when I write a really good song, and everyone in the room was like, this shit's fire. Just period. Fire. So it allows this like bonification of your decision making when you're in a room with someone. I don't really like making music by myself anymore. I used to do it exclusively, but like I like when I come up with ideas and people are like, no, that's good. Like, and they're not, and I know the people that I'm working with aren't like just like gassing me up, because what's the point? There's no benefit in that. Because if they just gas you up and get a song out, like, yeah, sure, but wouldn't you rather have the song like actually generate you money, kind of thing? So I think collaboration is like the human experience that humanizes being an artist. And I think it's really fun. It's really cool being able to learn from people and like see how their mind works when they write melodies or they come up with ideas. You know, sometimes like I was working with like the song, crazy song I made yesterday. The producer was like, "What the fuck are we making?" And I was like, "Don't worry, just like keep doing it. Just keep adding this, do that." And he's like, "Dude, your brain is so fried." But it's like, and then this other guy in the room was just like, "But it's also like you're just scratching the surface. Like you can go deep." But that's the thing. It's like you can take this idea and develop it out even more, even more, even more. And I think that's the natural beauty between like art, because it doesn't matter, you know?
And that's true collaboration you're talking about there. I mean, you've also mentioned in other interviews about, having features from famous artists that were basically just bought and paid for features that did very little. Is that
Yeah.
is my understanding of that correct? That you felt like there was very little from certain just like tack on features, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really buy them very much, or like I don't really do that very often, because if I'm gonna make a song, I would rather like actually just market the song with the friend or the person. So, and a lot of the time, also like call me a greedy dude. If I'm gonna market a song, I can typically just add a verse that's going to be better than their verse anyway. In reality, so it's just like, why would I pay someone for doing a half-ass job? So. Whereas, like, I know with Gravy, at least, like, when we're making a project, like, I know for a fact, whether or not I have to start all the songs, I know for a fact deep down that he's going to try on it, and he will market it to some extent. And that's what, that's what matters to me. It's like, at least we're pushing it, kind of.
Is again true collaboration as opposed to paid feature for the bet.
Totally.
Yeah. Fair. In the last we've worked together over half a decade now. I've seen you pivot numerous times in terms of marketing strategies that you've pursued. How do you educate yourself on finding out, like staying current on what's working right now to grow engagement and ultimately income?
I just kind of do a little bit of everything, and it's like return of investment, return of time. That's how I kind of view it. It's like, if I make a TikTok, if I make a video, does this thing work? If it doesn't, transition to something else. And I feel like my mind works like this. It's like I see something working, and let me just think about what is working in that, like the context of why it's working in this exact moment in culture. Let me regurgitate it how I would regurgitate it through Baby No Money's lens. Boom. And that's how I do it. Sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes it does. And I feel like one thing I'm really happy about branding myself with is low effort marketing. If I had to go do XYZ every fucking time for a music video and spend XYZ for a music video or this or this or that, that would suck. But
Mhm.
I will say, when I do bigger like productional things, it does make a larger difference for sure. It's just the baseline of like I could look at a camera and post a video and it'll do probably more than XYZ. So it's kind of just like I'm not sure. I'm not sure, you know. Um, but yeah, I don't really know how I got good at this shit. It's interesting because like labels will literally like labels, marketing departments will literally just tell an artist, be like, "Hey, you should probably make TikToks."
Mhm. I mean,
It's like, what's the fucking point of signing to a?
for the bag, for the short-term bag at the expense of the long-term bag, giving a lion's share of the money to the label, which is
Earlier in the conversation, you mentioned how you even see like some people just don't get the internet, right? And they don't get social media. And I think it takes different people to have like an understanding. It's like you either you get it or you don't. And where I'm going with that is like more psychology and understanding of people, right? And it's kind of like that matrix, the red pill or the blue pill. You're either experiencing it or you understand it and then you can manipulate it. So you obviously are kind of outside that matrix and can understand it and see how it works, whereas other people are just experiencing it, right? So you've understood the matrix and then you can apply it, and then other people are just taking that in.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I like you were saying, Kyle, in the beginning. It's like it's a blessing that I get to wake up and do this, no question.
Mhm.
But like my experience with social media is like I would say it's a net negative because I don't like it. Like I don't want to be on social media. Like I don't want to have to post. But I love posting. I love making things. I love doing this. I love doing that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, it's like a double-edged sword. When it works, and it works amazing. When it doesn't, it's frustrating because it's like, what's wrong with me? But there's nothing actually wrong with you. It's just a robot not accepting you. And it's like, great. So just a double-edged sword, but I mean, every day I'm learning more and more on how to deal with the expectation of what I have with my career. And I think the reason why I want to make a project that is so objectively good is just for my fans. That's it. And like I know deep down my fans fuck with me because they fuck with my music because I fuck with my music. I don't like go out of my way to listen to my music, but I know that I fuck with my music
Mhm.
and I know that they like my music. So if they like what I like, that's it. And I think most importantly, if I make a really good project, I have the fan base that people that will be like, nah, he did a really good thing here and I want to go see it live. And that's all I can ask for, right? So really excited to see where the next couple of years take me. It's been a really effective year this year, and way more fun this year than I've had in the last couple of years for sure. For
In,
Good.
sure.
in this interview so far, I feel like I'm catching like an introspective, like reflective sort of tone. Is that going to be reflected in your upcoming album? Is that something you've thought of, or is that something that's just being said?
No, it's not something that I want to put into my music. Not necessarily. I still like way prefer wittiness in my music than introspection. I do think tonally the project will feel a lot more introspective than my usual project. But yeah, this year, no question, I've been through the rigmarole of ups and downs in several things. So I've definitely like learned a lot about myself and learned a lot about like how to hold myself in situations. So it's been yeah, it's just been like a very growthful year, a girthy year. You know what I mean?
Love it.
One of the best years that I've had in my life, probably this year.
I'm glad
To
to hear that.
under, yeah, to understand what my 30s will bring, basically.
Aside from back pain.
Yeah, neck pain, back pain, ball pain, shit, bro.
You'll be joining the club of these two.
Yeah, I know the feeling, man. So,
So I want to take
yeah,
it back a little
I'm good here.
bit to earlier days, just to help the listeners understand the path a little bit better and some of the things that you've done to build your audience.
Yeah,
Back, aside from obviously the SoundCloud era, you went hard in leaning into building community with the gaming community, allowing your music to be used in videos and so on. Can you talk a little bit about that, like the motivation behind that, and the thought processes in having your music used basically online by other people?
yeah. I mean, that's what promotion is. That's the fundamental basis of what promotional tool is. And my I had a couple friends early on in my career that were like reaching out to me, be like, "You are criminally underrated, bro. I'm so sorry." And they ended up like helping me using my songs, putting me on, and then I noticed the benefit that they had in my career, and I was like, "Oh shit! Like it's real. Like promotion is real, and cosigns and this and that, and like deepening the deepening the world of what Baby No Money was through other people's worlds was basically my early on experience of cosign and how I kind of like had a larger or faster trajectory. I didn't really do too much until like Gravy came around, and then I noticed what he was doing that I wasn't, and I just copied him. And he came from marketing. He's a marketing major,
Mhm.
and his marketing understanding is way better than mine. No doubt in my mind. I think it's cool because we both kind of like level each other out. He's more of a marketing head slash he's like a branding tool. He's branded himself very, very well. I would say my branding is a little obscure and my music is a little bit more musical. He's a little bit more funny lyrically. I'm a little bit more melodic. So it's like this like yin and yang that we float each other pretty well. But early on, man, I don't really know. I just made a bunch of music and put it out and like I just asked for favors all the fucking time, which people don't really do. But if you make a decent enough product, people probably won't be afraid to say yes. Um,
Mhm.
and I think that's like something that I've recognized is like if I'm in an airport and I have no idea where to go, people will not ask. People will literally be lost for another 30 minutes, waste their time trying to find something and not ask. I don't understand why. And it's not like an ego thing. It's not like, yeah. But basically, I've always been like, just like, hey, yo, bro, can you help me out on this one?
Mhm.
That's it.
And by asking for favors, you're talking about people asking people to use your music in their videos. Is that what we're?
Yeah.
Uh,
I would always just be like, yo, like, if you need my music, let me know. I can send it to you early. You can premiere it. Like, you can do this. Like, you can add. And it was just like reaching out and having lots of communication with like other content creators and stuff like that that were like willing and developing relationships. And I think that like honestly being a Canadian has kind of helped me out a little bit because I feel like I'm just like a relatively like endearing, nice person.
mhm,
Speaking modestly, I don't really know how else to say it otherwise, but like,
mhm.
it's like Canadians are just nicer people default. And yeah, I don't know, man. Like, there's so many levels to like where and how I've gotten to, and it's like it's so crazy to think back. Like, I was happy with 1,000 plays on SoundCloud in 24 hours, and it like blew me away.
Mhm.
And then slowly started progressing more and more and more, and just like conceptually thinking where I'm at now. Like, I have like unironically like 10 billion fucking streams, and it's insane, you know? And that's just like on the shit that I'm like probably like generating revenue. Like there's probably like literally trillions of views on my shit.
Mhm.
And it's just like it's kind of like weird to think about that I like did this and I did it at a pretty high scale, and it's like there's been so much work that has gone into it. I've put so many fucking hours into this, and I wish I could like trace everything back and see like what I did right, because sometimes I'm like, how the fuck did I end up here? You know, it's like, uh, yeah,
So in another
yeah,
interview you did, you said that you were on the verge of quitting music in 2017 until you found out that you went viral in China. Can you talk about your
yeah.
mindset?
Basically, dude, it was that singular week. It was this 1 week, February 2017, and I was like, this shit is just not fucking working. This is not, and my heart was like kind of breaking. I was just like, damn, like I've tried so hard for the past like 3 years to like really try to make this work, and it's just not going anywhere. And I was like, maybe I should probably give this up, because if I'm paying for university and shit like this, and it's like, what's the point of going to university if I don't try? Well, I was trying, but I was getting like B plus, no, like B minus, like B's. And it's like, I'm obviously going to be put in the bottom of the fucking pile if I'm not getting triple A's. So part of me was like, maybe I need to reevaluate. And like, I remember sitting downstairs in my dad's house, my parents' house, and I was like crying on the chair. My parents weren't home; they were in Mexico, and albeit like I was on a come down a bunch of Adderall because I was studying for tests. But I just remember crying, being like, maybe it's time, man. Maybe it's time to give up. The next fucking morning, I checked my phone, and it was like, yeah, you basically just got served up a golden platter. Like you just went viral as shit in China. Started looking into it, and ended up making like the same amount of money I would make serving, or twice the amount of money I would make serving at this restaurant in Vancouver in like 10 days in China. And I was like, well, that sounds like a fucking deal. So I ended up going out. It was beautiful, incredible experience. I would like, just such an eye-opening experience that I wish I could experience again. It was like so beautiful that there were so many people in China that passionately loved what I was doing. And it really just was like,
Neck tattoos.
yeah, neck tattoos. And it was really like one of those experiences where I was like, oh, okay, bet. I got to do this. Like, after that happened, I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to make this work in America. And I like, dude, I like honestly started curving everyone. I went pretty, I went pretty Volcel to be real. I told myself, I was like, I'm just not going to talk to girls. I was like, I can't talk to girls because they will lead me astray, and I need to stay focused. Um, so I like stopped talking to girls, stopped partying, and just like really buckled down. And like, I was like, I'm gonna make this fucking work. So
In the
right
Western
after,
world.
hmm?
Make
In
it
the rest
work
of
in
the
the
world,
Western world. Yeah.
yeah. And then basically what happened is like in May, so it was like 2, 3 months later. In May, Gravy started blowing up, and I remember him calling me and being like, "Bro, like my phone is bussing right now. It's like blowing the fuck up." And I'm like, "Oh shit, that's crazy." And he's like, "Every time I go on Instagram, I get like an extra 100 followers." And at this time, we had like 2K each. And I'm like, "Whoa, like is it?" And I remember I was taking a bus. I was taking a bus to the restaurant that I was working at, and I got off the bus because I was like shaking. I had to get off the bus before I got there, and I was like shaking. I was like, "Dude." I called him. I was like, "Bro, maybe this is it. Maybe this is it." He's like, "I think it is." And they started getting label calls. He came over to Vancouver. We met for the first time, and we went down to LA. He met with a bunch of labels and this and that. And I saw him go through the process of label courting and all of this. And I was like, nah, this is real. Like this shit could be really real.
Mhm.
And I just buckled all the way down for like 2.5 years.
Mhm.
I was just investing money, working my fucking ass off, investing money, working my ass off, and then boom, la la la. After that happened, my career was solidified pretty much. So
Mhm.
really good experience, and I wish I could talk to myself. I wish I could talk to my like la 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 self right now, like right in the beginning of la la la, and just tell him a couple things because
What would you
that
tell
would
him?
have me.
What would you tell him?
I would
That's
tell him,
exactly where I wanted to go.
I would tell him, sign the fucking album you have right now for a one-off album. Do it a 50-50 split with a net profit receipts and spend $1 million marketing this project because it will make you 10 times bigger than you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I would have said. That's the only mistake I've made in my career. 100%.
Is only licensing the single as opposed to the album to get more marketing dollars behind it, basically.
Well, it's not more marketing dollars. It's spending marketing dollars. I didn't spend anything on I Don't Care at all.
Fair.
And that was an issue.
Okay.
That was an issue.
Yeah, I remember
And
those days.
I remember there was 2 songs that were going on TikTok. And I was like, oh, it's going to happen. It'll happen naturally. Let it happen. But I was wrong. So just the way it goes.
I mean, the spending piece is definitely part of the equation to really make it go.
Yep.
You know, past a certain point, I should say. I mean, like, obviously viral success is one thing, but viral success also isn't building the business to the point that, you know, profitability that you're aiming for.
Yeah, totally.
What else do you feel like in the first 5 years of your career you would have done differently if you had the knowledge that you have now?
Dude, interestingly enough, I think that's the only thing I would have done differently. Sign that project.
Is look to get more or to get investment behind something that was already blowing up heavy.
Yeah, just that project. Nothing else.
Yeah. So
the only other thing
your self-release.
Yeah. The only other thing maybe is stop being so headstrong with every song. I think where the make 120 songs, only put out 10 concept comes from is just being really picky. Originally, I used to not be that picky with my music, and I think it kind of held me back a little bit. But also, who fucking cares, man? Like, I'm happy. So,
Good.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for people coming up and like building a strong team? Because obviously, sounds like you've had a pretty strong team around you, and getting to the point where you're at. And I know in working with Kyle, setting up even this podcast, which again, thank you for being here. We dealt with your team, and it definitely seems like you have strong people around you. So, any advice for building a strong team and putting that around you and putting that in place?
If you can develop a team with your friends and have a healthy dynamic, that's where it's at. I think make sure you develop people and find people that actually care for the growth and like don't no yes man, that shit sucks. And I think having a deeper understanding of the truthful reality is no one is really gonna get you there unless you do it. Unless obviously you're signed to like Kanye West's manager, who he's so fucking plugged he can do anything he wants. Yeah, but let's be realistic. That probably won't happen. So I think having an understanding of like you will probably have to do most of this legwork yourself, and expecting anyone else to be able to do it and you not lead the ship, that's just not it. If you want to do that, go make EDM. That's it's like I don't hate EDM or anything, but like electronic music is a little bit more like streamlined. It's like cosine, 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 cosine. All right, headline. So yeah, I think just like find people that you trust. And it's not like people that like are gonna steal like things from your house, but like people that you trust their judgment. And like for instance, Sam, one of my managers right now, he does not like my music. He doesn't. And that's fine. But I trust him. And that's all that matters. He's like, he didn't like It Boy when it came out. And I was like, that's fine. I do. He's like, but we'll market the fuck out of this. We'll give it its best shot. And I trust his effort, and I trust his belief in BBNO Money, regardless if he doesn't like my music. So, and his belief in me. And I think that's something that I was really worried about finding or like bringing on my friends for the like issue of like the financial like dynamic and stuff like that. So I think I found a really good team. Obviously, it'll be butt heads on things, but that's just the nature of working with people. But yeah, the overarching is like no one's gonna do it, so you have to go find these people yourself. No one's gonna do it for you, and that is something that I have really realized is like you have to get yourself in this position if you really want it.
Yep. Yep. I mean, Sam likes your work ethic. I think that's the important thing is, and
Yeah, exactly.
he helps you in growing your business, and that he's not a producer in the studio with you, crafting your music. And that's the delineation to me that makes that relationship work and excel. I've seen you guys do incredible things that I haven't in the last year or so that you guys have been working together that I hadn't seen with your previous management teams, with no shade towards them,
Shade.
but just like it's definitely been interesting watching new revenue streams unlock for you and new opportunities, just things like, more endorsements and custom work and stuff like that. I think that the Bank of Montreal campaign that you guys did was, incredible, having them pay your bills on time. Custom
Really
composition and music video. That was dope. And to see you getting well paid for that on top, like for something that's positive, not just, an empty shilling for a bag, is really dope. So it's cool to see things like that. And it's great that you have support to help you facilitate, what you're trying to achieve, but it is unquestionably on you. Like nobody's going to work harder for you than you are. Is kind of to lend my own perspective on it as far as the team building is concerned. And you've been putting in the work for a decade now, and that's the reality. Is like, some people might only be familiar with you from La 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 or Edamame or whatever, but they didn't see the 5 years of work that came before that.
It's been a while, man. It's definitely been a while. I think you just got to try. If you don't, before I blew up in China, I don't think I was giving it my all. That was something that I probably recognized. I was like trying, I was doing this, I was doing that, but I wasn't like sweating into it. So once I started doing that, I really started seeing the effects and the benefit, even in like my ability to rap and my ability to come up with flows and ideas is like after, making music is a muscle. So like after just making, I remember that one summer, it was like 2017. I made so much fucking music. It was like every day I was making 3-4 beats so I could understand how to like mix better and like just make beats. And then I was also like just printing songs. It was ridiculous. Just so much music.
So in 2017, you had 6 figures in monthly listeners, like low 6 figures. And prior to La La La, in October 2018, you hit 1 million Spotify monthly listeners for the first time. What transpired in that time frame that got you to that point specifically that had like an exponential growth? And I know obviously monthly listeners is not the most important metric, but I'm just as a benchmark that's publicly available. What do you think contributed in that key time period from 2017 to 2018 in exponential growth like that?
I think the exponential growth was Gravy blew up. We dropped Baby Gravy 1, and that did really well for me. That was like definitely my most like successful thing at that time. I dropped a couple other songs, and then Cryos and a bunch of YouTube gamers ended up using my music and co-signing me in that. And then 2019, I dropped Recess, and that project did great. I started getting more playlisting at the end of 2018. Started working with Y2K, and I just started like every other week was a new hit, new song kind of thing. So Tony Thought was one of my songs that I was like, damn, this song did great. That was a song, Sriracha, I dropped right before La La La. That song went crazy. Yeah, it
was a culmination, basically, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, culmination of all that stuff. Culmination, yeah, totally.
All right, fair. For a while, I saw you investing heavily in the early days of TikTok in influencer campaigns. And obviously the dollars that it takes have gone up a lot since the early days.
Big time.
Is it still sustainable to pay for influencer marketing from your perspective?
It's only if it works. Like, I'm totally okay with paying for influencers if it works. Mm-hmm. But if it doesn't, it's completely pointless in my opinion.
How do you tell if it works?
If it translates to streaming, like, and right now, currently, there's like an understanding if girls and guys are mouthing the lyrics to a song, that means, or dancing to the song, that means it will typically translate to streaming. I don't know why, but if people are using, hey, this is a cup, balls hanging low, what, pop a bottle off a yacht, and they're not mouthing it, it's just like, it's not, no one gives a fuck about that. How is that culturally relevant? Where it's like, let's say like a really hot dude is like, balls hanging low, and he does a little dance. Like everyone else is gonna want to do that because he's popular. So it's like kind of just goes off. It's like high school. Think about it in a high school perspective. It's like whatever the popular kids are doing, everyone else is gonna want to do that. So why wouldn't that be like the popular music? So it's just interesting. It's like I never expected TikTok and social media to be like this much of an influence on things and people, but it makes sense. It's all people really have.
So I from having the benefit of seeing where some of the expenditures were going, it seems like there's been a lot less spending on influencer marketing on your part than there was in the past, in the earlier days of TikTok. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's definitely pretty accurate. Hold on, my laptop's gonna die. I just want to figure out where my fucking bag is. Hold on, let me answer this question, and I'll go grab something. But yeah, it's definitely a little bit more accurate. I will spend a bunch of money on it though, if it's working. So if the song is going up and starting to stream, furthermore, past like a 2-3 weeks after the song comes out, I will totally spend. Let's say it does 500,000 streams a day. That's $2,000. Boom, $2,000 a day. Why wouldn't I be spending money on it? Like, let's go market it. Let's try to make it more of a culturally impactful moment from my career. So, yes, absolutely. But out the gate, I just can't justify it anymore. Like, if I was spending like 10 racks sometimes, like out the gate on a song, and it would just do fucking nothing. Like,
Oh man, you were spending more than that. There was some like
look,
30K.
man, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
Sorry, I'm not trying to blow up your spot, but
No, I know.
like, there was definitely some investment that I was like, whoa, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, there was definitely some moments during Edamame that I was like shooting my fucking feet. But hey, man, we all try. We try our best.
Let's talk about the charity stuff that you're doing.
Yeah, okay.
You organized a festival here in Vancouver and gave the proceeds to charity. Wicked, super dope of you. Give us details, like from your perspective.
I've always just been like, why the fuck not? Like, if I can do something dope and also like give people some money, why wouldn't I do that? I know obviously people don't really think like that sometimes, and I think that that's like something that I've always been like proud of myself, I guess, is like I've always wanted to be charitable, and I've always wanted to do things, especially for Vancouver's like opioid crisis. Do I know really why I want to do that? I have no idea. I don't know the basis behind where my drive is with regards to doing like charitable events or always being willing to do it. I really don't think it's like a performative thing. I genuinely like, I'm just like, I will always do something charitable. So it was really fun to put on something like that and create an experience for my city, whether or not it was like that big or not, or it was like raining that day. It was such a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, you took an L on the outdoor elements.
Yeah, it was.
But still raised $100,000 for Downtown Eastside Women's Center, and kudos to you for that. And also got corporate sponsorship to match your contributions. Like, super dope.
Yeah, it was a cool experience to be able to really like actually see it through. I've always wanted to do it, and man, yeah, I don't really think anything of it. I'm just like, all right, let's do it again. So we're doing it. I think sometime in June, tentatively right now. Working on the lineup, working on location, but it's really cool, man. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm really happy that I was able to do it. That's something I always wanted to do. And I told people from now on, I'm never gonna do a show in Vancouver unless it's all donated. So
Giving back to your
that's the
city.
thing, giving back to the city. I mean, it's also a way for people to really like experience that Baby No Money is from Vancouver. And like, yeah, I don't really talk about it very much, but I definitely still identify as a Vancouverite. So I'm never gonna lose my roots for sure.
Appreciate it, man. It's a cool thing to be doing, and aside like even just doing a festival is a cool thing, like curating a festival, but to be doing it for positive end results like that, even
Yeah.
better, even
It
better.
just brings people together, you know. It brings people together for the right reasons and not just like a show. And like, yeah, at any given moment, I would be like super happy to have an extra $100,000 in my pocket. But what does that do for me? It doesn't, you know. It's like I think having the ability to do that and employ people and donate money for people who actually really are in need, um, it just makes a difference. It'll make more of a difference for them in the long run than it would for me. So why not have that ability and why not do that? You know, it's like it's just I think that's something that someone recently was telling me. Like they were like, yeah, you really like light up when you talk about doing charity and or like charity work. And I think I really do. Like I was thinking recently, I think I had a dream or some shit. I don't know what I was thinking, but I want to put together like a maybe some like east side shit and put together like an organization for like the youth and like less fortunate youth where it's like I can build a couple studios, you know, have it kind of just run the mill studios just for kids to like come through, make music and like, you know, have some like seminars and some people in Vancouver to talk about what they've done and this and that and like just make like a small little organization. And I think that like that would be so useful for people because how I found music and what music has done for me is more than I could ask for through therapy and other like mental health like stabilizing uh, benefactors, I guess. So eventually I'll do that. I don't know, man. It's just like it's something that's very like deeply, profoundly always been in the back of my head. I remember whether or not this be performative or not, but I remember when I was like 10, I was like, I want to be homeless for a year and write a book about it and donate all the proceeds. And that was like when I was 10. And I know like, you know, obviously being coming from Vancouver, you know, I was like pretty damn fortunate to have a house over my head, you know, in the grand scheme of things. Some people don't. And it's unbelievably sad. And, you know, I was very fortunate to be in the household that I had and something that I was like, I wonder what the mental effects of being unhoused and you know having like tumultuality in family dynamics where I didn't have it as much as I've heard other people have it, and like the long term effects that it does have on you. And something I really wanted to do is just like I wanted to do that even when I was younger, and it's just like why I don't know, but there's something deep inside of me that I'm like, the fuck else do we have to do except for like help people? And that's kind of like where I started making music because and I went to university for kinesiology because I wanted to like help people get through their pain physically. And I was like, well shit, if I can do that through music and allow people to like have a like a mental escape, I'm gonna do that. So it's really just like a like I'm trying to help people as much as I possibly can. Obviously I'm trying to help myself for fuck's sakes. But yeah, I'm very excited to do it again and continue doing charitable work in Vancouver. It's very close to my heart. So
Dope. Love it. Love it. Switching gears, you've been nominated for 6 JUNO Awards now. Can you tell us about the benefits you've gotten from being nominated? I'd say starting with the earlier ones, especially.
I should have won the edamame that year.
Tell us about the benefits of being nominated for the Junos.
I think it's cool. I think it displays me as like more of a Canadian act. The benefits, I feel like it's helped me sell tickets in Canada. I think it's more of like a subconscious level of understanding Baby No Money's a rapper, basically, or like an artist from Canada. And I think that helps with branding, ticketing, and like the whole grand scheme of things. I think it helps with like playlisting in Canada. I think it helps with like brands, endorsements, and stuff like that in Canada. And like like recognition. It also is just kind of validating. It's pretty nice to hear like, hey, you've been nominated.
Radio was another area that I definitely saw it being leveraged by your team as well. And obviously radio is its own animal that we can go into, but definitely the radio promotions team, definitely used those initial nominations to help get more support on that side of things. And I think that was a key piece. I mean, hell, let's talk about radio a little bit. What's your perspective on radio, on commercial radio, to be clear?
Man, when it works, it works. When it doesn't, it's a waste of fucking money. I'll be honest.
And correct me if my interpretation is wrong, but I feel like it's kind of the last piece of the puzzle, not the front.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people try and put the cart before the horse in that one.
Yeah, things used to be more radio prominent. Like if you go on radio, you have more of a story to tell elsewhere. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think you have to be viral and then you go to radio. That's kind of it. So interesting like dynamic now where it's like you have to be kind of viral elsewhere or else it's like you're just kind of burning yourself.
No doubt. And it's expensive. Yeah. And it might produce no results.
Very expensive. It is incredibly expensive. But also buying a $5,000 TikTok that might do like 34 views is fucking expensive too. So it's like
fair.
This marketing music is insanely expensive. Insanely expensive.
So where right now do you feel like are the best places to invest money in marketing music?
Yourself. That's it. If you're gonna make content, spend $10,000. If you're gonna spend $10,000, go make $10,000 worth of good content. Get a fucking sumo wrestler like tapping your belly while you're rapping the song. I don't fucking know. Like, it's like, yeah. It's like you can look back at least and you'd be like, oh, I'm proud that I did something cool artistically. At least you have that, regardless if it does any numbers. That's my personal take.
And to be clear, we're not talking about a single video. I mean, for you, that's not a big thing. But as far as an up and coming artist, putting 10K behind one video is not the move.
No, I'm not gonna put 10K behind one fucking video. That's a waste of money. I'm talking like you spend 10K, you spend it smart. Like let's go. You rent go-karts for a day, or like you go buy a bunch of like olive oil and you oil up or some shit. I don't fucking know. Like
and create a whole bunch.
Like you create a whole bunch. Yeah, totally. Way worth it. Like way more worth it. Because not only is it promoting your actual platform, it's like giving your fans material. It's like continuing the story.
Yeah. I've definitely seen a shift of more self-created music related content from you in the last few years, as opposed to influencer focused thing. And then obviously, the cost of influencer marketing is something, but I've just seen you do so much more in the last, half a decade, pushing on video content yourself, as opposed to pursuing placements on other people's videos.
Yep. Man, it's crazy. We're talking half a decade. But yeah, man, I totally think so. I think it's a lot more beneficial for your career than it is to have other people post about it. But it's a double-edged sword because having both go at the same time is the greatest. But sometimes you can't have both.
One thing I wanted to just ask here, and kind of like, we'll get into like maybe a question from me and a question from Kyle and wrap it up. Through this conversation, you kind of like, you've talked about a bunch of different types of revenue streams, from touring to the streaming. And then I know recently you just launched a new clothing line. Do you want to chat about that?
Yeah, fun job. I have a pair of pants right here. This shit is difficult. Selling high quality fashion garments to my fan base that doesn't probably buy high quality garments. Yeah, we sold out the first couple drops. Amazing. We're not making too much, but it's really fun. It's a cool experience to divulge in and like put my thought process into different types of work. But yeah, no, it's been fun. It's just making really nice quality clothing is really difficult. And there's
No doubt.
a bunch of loopholes, and it's very like, if you know, you know. It's very like buddy, but it's cool, deepening tool for Baby No Money fans, and that's basically all I want it to be. Obviously, I want it to be the biggest brand in the world, but I don't dedicate enough time on it. But we're working. We have like a next like 3 drops coming out, so we're working on it. It's fun. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, I mean, this is after having already sold a ton of merch, customer base, both
Yeah.
live and online, to build off of and take it to that deeper level that you're talking about. Really quickly, just wanted to ask if you have any last words of advice for aspiring artists on what they should be focused on to grow their audience.
You were cutting out a bunch there, so I'm not sure if the audio was on my side or your side. I'm not sure. Regardless,
It's Kyle. Like he was it sounds like he's a bit underwater. But yeah, in case you didn't hear, he was asking any advice for upcoming artists to expand their audience.
yeah. I mean, just put the music out. That's all you got to do. Like, I know so many fucking artists that like, look, when you start making music, it's probably not gonna be that good, but like someone out there might like it, and that's all that matters. One person liking it is better than 0 people not hearing it. Period. So just put the music out, promote it a little bit, and if it doesn't do good, move on to the next one, and just let go of your feelings about how your music does. That's the most important thing I could say to any artist coming out. Then just put the music out. Yeah. Yeah.
Why not? Thank you so much for your time, Alex.
Dude, no, I'm sorry this took so long to reschedule. I've been just going through it. So
all good. All good.
all right.
Appreciate you putting it in. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys.
Everyone tuning in
Great.
to Rap Career Growth Podcast. That's it for this episode. We'll catch you next time.
Peace, guys. Take it easy.
Thank you, Alex.